afternoon. First of all, we would like to welcome everybody present in this room. Thank you for coming to UPN COY 15. We would also like to welcome those present through live stream here in COY 15. And last but not least, give a warm welcome for those who have liked to participate with us in the COY 15 held at Universidad Politécnica de Madrid.
We also want to welcome everyone that is here in the stage with us today. To Her Excellency Patricia Espinosa, Secretary General of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change.
To Her Excellency Carolina Smith, Minister of Environment of Chile and COP25 President.
To Her Excellency Teresa Rivera, Minister of Environment for the Ecological Transition of Spain.
To local COY organizers.
To Jorge Gómez Sanz, Vice-Chancellor of Complutense University of Madrid.
And to Guillermo Cisneros Pérez, Chancellor of Politécnica University of Madrid.
Now, we would like to invite Bárbara Neira to join us on stage. She's going to talk about what the COY 15 process has been, all the insights of this last year of work, and especially the 3 last days of this great event.
Okay, hello everyone, thank you for being here. This presentation is going to be a kind of Spanglish for all the people that are here can understand. So, the first, bueno, voy a partir en español. COY 15 comenzó hace aproximadamente 10 meses, donde 15 personas desconocidas, todos jóvenes, principalmente chilenos, algunos latinoamericanos, tuvimos que por un objetivo común, juntarnos y hacer un equipo en tiempo récord. La verdad, nuestra tarea como COY ha sido muy dura. Hemos trabajado durante 10 meses junto a distintas organizaciones a lo largo de todo Chile para que ustedes puedan estar acá por esta gran causa. Bien, gracias. Bueno, y como saben, a pesar de que 10 meses estuvimos trabajando para realizar la COY en Chile, en Valparaíso, hace un mes nos enteramos de que nos cambiábamos de sede acá y en tiempo récord, en un mes, tuvimos que organizar nuevamente nuestra conferencia y que el desafío lo tomamos con mucho entusiasmo y la verdad estamos muy felices de que todos ustedes puedan estar acá finalmente. Durante estos 3 días que hemos estado acá, hemos tenido más de 400 participantes de 85 países. Y la verdad, esto no hubiera sido posible sin todos los voluntarios de acá de Madrid que decidieron apoyarnos, a pesar de que fue un tiempo muy pequeño. Ellos también no nos conocían desde el otro lado del Atlántico, nos apoyaron y todos estos días de verdad han sido indispensables en nuestra labor. Además, también queremos agradecer a nuestro equipo que está en Chile, porque si bien acá estamos los coordinadores de la conferencia, que somos alrededor de 15, tenemos un equipo muy grande que nos estuvieron apoyando estos 10 meses, que son cerca de 40 jóvenes de Chile y Latinoamérica. Entonces, para ellos también es un gran orgullo que hayan trabajado con nosotros. También, dentro de la Organización de Chile, nos gustaría agradecer a la Universidad Técnica Federico Santa María, que fue nuestro primer aliado cuando estábamos organizando, por lo tanto, que iba a ser nuestra sede, por lo tanto es una obligación de nosotros poder agradecerlos. También a las universidades que nos han apoyado acá, muchas gracias a la Politécnica y a la Complutense, que también han sido un gran apoyo durante estas últimas semanas que hemos ido trabajando juntos, y sobre todo a nuestros auspiciadores. la Liga, que nos ha permitido tener grandes beneficios para ustedes durante estos días. Lime, que les permitió el transporte, algunos transportes, y por supuesto la Unión Europea, que también ha sido un gran aliado de nosotros. Y también a la presidencia de la COP25, que también nos ha ayudado desde el inicio de esta gran labor, sobre todo a la representante de la juventud del equipo, que de verdad ha sido un gran apoyo para nosotros. Y bueno, finalmente quisiera decir unas palabras que las diré en inglés para que todos puedan entender, un poco para agradecer lo que hemos hecho todo este tiempo. Que es, finally, we want to give a very big thanks to all the youth of the world, and we dedicate this event to the youth of Chile, that historically have brought to light social environmental demands. Thank you. This is for all the youth of the world, fighting for social environmental justice, and together we are action. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara, for your kind words. We will move on with the great work that has been done during this weekend. We invite the working groups to share with us the outcomes. First of all, we will start with the Mitigation and NDC Working Group, represented by Eddie from the Dominican Republic.
Hola a todos. My name is Eddie. I'm from Dominican Republic, a small island developing state, and I'm here as part of the Youth for NDC program through the Youth Climate Scholarships. I'm glad to present you all the work that the Mitigation and NDC Enhancement Working Group of YONGO has been doing in the past 3 days. We clearly are standing on the next point. First, we request the parties to urgently update and revise their NDC for 2020 with the best available science to enhance their admission and also provide support and means of implementations for all of those in front line of the impacts of climate change. Second, we call upon the parties to include youth people and youth movement representatives into the consultation and design process of the NDCs to enhance ambition for the Paris Agreement implementation. Third, as agreed upon parties, we emphasize the need to include action for climate empowerment into next year's NDCs, to enhance ambition through public participation, public awareness, education and training, with a special emphasis on youth people. Fourth, we underline the need to reflect youth priority and perspectives into NDCs, noting economy-wide emission reduction targets, and including but not limited to mainstreaming environmental education, promoting green jobs, and facilitating access to climate finance. Taking into consideration that next year is key for presenting a more ambitious plan for implementing Paris Agreement, we call upon the parties to urgently enhance their NDCs in a manner to limit warming to 1.5 degrees. If we don't do it today, if we don't do it now, in 2025, when we have to represent another NDCs, it will be too late for have a more inclusive and sustainable development for all of us. Finally, we have put together a publication for parties made by young people called Mainstreaming Youth Empowerment Inclusions into NDC Design. We are pleased to share this first draft here, and we would like to request all of you, especially to the United Nations Framework Climate Change Secretariat, and the Minister's presence to communicate these recommendations to the parties and to the United Nations country teams. Now you come with guidelines to include and to also include in and strengthen youth priority and perspectives into the heart of the Paris Agreement. Thank you all.
Thank you, Eddie. Now we go with the Adaptation Working Group. We give the word to Hala from Syria.
Hello, everyone. My name is Hala Zaino. I'm from Syria. I'm an architect working with my team, Acto Green, on supporting the development process in my country, Syria. So I'm so excited to be here with you and to present my country. I'm here now to present the adaptation working group outcomes. So the first slide. Ensuring local communities are given the tools and financing to adapt to climate impact. So all we need to make sure that the adaptation funds should focus on financing young people's ideas and initiatives. Develop an environmental solution-focused program and educational system. Engage children and youth NGOs in the decision-making process. Also, formulating engagement initiatives and strict policies regarding adaptation consideration in a new infrastructure construction. Protection of nature and ecosystem, integrate human rights, gender equality, economic inequality, rural needs, economic inequality. Also, rural needs, conflict, peace needs, demographic factors such as migration in adaptation plans and policies and APCs. So the next slide. It consists of two photos. Here you can see the working group engaging at COY. The second one. Okay. Finally, earlier this year, youth organization had worked on a research paper called Adapt for Our Future that captured youth recommendations on how parties, especially the developed parties, should support and prioritize adaptation efforts. Thank you.
Thank you, Hala. Continuing with Action for Climate Environment Working Group and Finance Working Group, we invite Charles from Bahamas.
All right. Good afternoon. My name is Charles Hamilton, and I am from the Bahamas. I'm a climate change, public health and communications consultant, and I'm attending COY today as the Vice President Policy of the Cat Island Conservation Institute, a group mobilized after Hurricane Dorian to advance climate action and youth action in the Bahamas. As a citizen of a small island developing state and a young person, I feel privileged to present the outcomes from both the Action for Climate Empowerment, so ACE working groups, and the Climate Finance and Markets working group, as both will be needed to support our ability to tackle and address this climate crisis. Firstly, Article 12 and ACE are essential for realizing the objectives of the Paris Agreement and of the Convention. We recognize and appreciate that parties agreed on the terms of reference for the final review of the Doha Work Program on ACE, which will be conducted at SB 52. And we call upon the COP25 presidency to support and design support in the design and agreement of a new framework for ACE to follow the Doha Work Program. YONGO will also consider the future of ACE implementation through our formal submission on the 15th of February, 2020, and we invite all parties to make their own submissions, working closely with YONGO during the process at SB 52. To enhance ACE, we offer the following suggestions to parties. The appointment of a national focal point for ACE. 2, updating formal education curricula to include and support climate education for students. And 3, to support non-formal and informal education structures to enhance ACE, underpinning these 3 initiatives with proper support, time, and resources. In regards to climate finance and markets, we call on all stakeholders to abstain from double counting practices in order to ensure accurate reporting of carbon emissions. We furthermore urge parties to increase finance flows. All right. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Secretary General. Okay. No problem. So, in regard to climate finance and markets, we call on all stakeholders to abstain from double counting practices in order to ensure accurate reporting of carbon emissions. Furthermore, we call on the Green Climate Fund to we urge parties to increase finance flows by engaging multilateral and innovative financing in order to close the climate finance gap. And finally, we call on the Green Climate Fund to increase the $100 billion pledge under an impact investment framework. We are thankful for your attention, and we look forward to concrete actions coming out of the working group's suggestions to tie into the work of the parties at COP25. Thank you.
Now we want to ask other applause a second time for His Excellency Antonio Gutierrez, Secretary General of the United Nations. Please. And our last working group, Agricultural Working Group and Eco-Conservation Working Group, Esmeralda from Belgium.
Thank you. My name is Esmeralda. I'm from Belgium. I'm the UN Youth Delegate for my country. And I'm very happy to present you the outcomes of two working groups we've been working on the last 3 days, the Agriculture Working Group and the Eco-Conservation Working Group. So for the Agriculture Working Group, we have 4 demands that we find very important to be implemented. The first one is that agroecology must be at the core of agricultural production and national and international policies. The second one is that synthetic fertilizers and pesticides use must be very limited and used with sustainability at front of mind. Natural habitats and wildlife should not be destroyed and degraded for the purposes of creating agricultural production. Last one, local communities must be empowered to act with appropriate support from national and international bodies. We have also been working on ecosystem restoration and conservation, especially in the frame of the UN Decade for Ecosystem Restoration. So, ecosystem restoration is an issue that has system-wide implications, and young people see very strong connections between the state of ecosystems in their local environment and also their economic situation, future work, and health. So we call upon parties to include the consideration of the ecosystem not only in their policy decisions, but also in infrastructure, education, and economy-wide targets. In March 2019, UN General Assembly launched the UN Decade for Ecosystem Restoration, which will run from 2021 to 2030, making UNEP and FAO as a custodian agencies, asking them to work in collaboration with the UNFCCC, UNCCD, and UNCD as custodian agencies. So what do you young people demand? We need more sensitization programs and accessible finances. Youth must also be seen as direct partners in the implementation of the conservation efforts, and parties must address this and the decade and the UN decade as both policy and implementation priorities. So in the last months, a lot of youth organizations and constituencies from different parts of the world have hosted on-ground consultation on the topic of UN Decade for Ecosystem Restoration. So there have been really a lot of different consultations that have been running, and the outputs of these consultations are currently being finalized by the coordination group of these consultations. We really want to ask that these outputs should really be used in the broader strategy of the UN agencies and parties, and to take these inputs into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Esmeralda, for your words. Now we're going to play a video from the COY 15 that is going to be shown on the screen. We invite to the podium to His Excellency Antonio Gutierrez, Secretary General of United Nations.
Sin excelencia. Es un enorme placer estar aquí con todos vosotros en Madrid. Quería felicitarlos por la iniciativa estupenda que han desarrollado, ¿no? Yo creo que antes de nuestra cumbre en Nueva York tuvimos una cumbre joven que tuvo una influencia muy importante en el desarrollo de la cumbre política, y espero que esta cumbre también tenga una influencia muy fuerte en la COP que va a empezar mañana. I'm very pleased to be able to meet with all of you today. All around the world, young people are mobilizing and calling for urgent and decisive climate action. It is plain you have lost patience with the political machinery, and I fully understand that. You are right. It is too slow and does not go far enough. Our efforts to address the climate crisis remain inadequate. And climate change is running faster than we are. And that is why I'm here in Madrid to call for more ambition and more urgency in our common battle. It is essential that we limit global temperature rise to 1.5 degrees, as the scientific community has demonstrated. And that is the only way to avert a looming catastrophe for people and planet. And for that, the same scientific community has told us that we need to cut greenhouse gas emissions by 45% by 2030 and achieve carbon neutrality by 2050. It's not going to be easy, but it can be done. It only lacks political will. And so, my message, our message, must be not a message of despair, but a message of hope. Things can be done. We have the tools, the resources exist. What is still missing is political will. And that is where your initiative is extremely important. That is indeed where you come in. Because your activism and concern can mobilize all of society. And where society goes, politicians and negotiators will have to follow. And so my request to all of you is very clear. Keep up the pressure. Don't give up. Do not relent. Let the world know that you are watching and that you are acting. The climate crisis will demand action and change from all of us, and you can lead it. And we count on you to lead today, so we may all enjoy a better tomorrow. You have my profound admiration and my full support, and I thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your words. Continuing, we would love to hear the words of Her Excellency Patricia Espinosa, Secretary General of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, that has prepared for us.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for being here, and I will just make a few remarks to thank you, especially the Chilean and the Spanish COY teams. We have heard already how much the Chilean COY team had been working to organize this event in Chile. And it has been an extraordinary effort also on your side, and of course of the Spanish counterparts, to be able to get this group of young people from, you said 85 countries, is that correct? From 85 countries. So, and thank you all for making the effort, coming here to Madrid, making your voices heard, and making your contributions, of which I have taken due note, and I'll be very happy to convey them to the parties. I am sure that they will be taken into account. Thank you also for continuing to engage as the constituency of youth under UNFCCC in these dialogues, and for always bringing new people into the process. I hope to see you next year, and in the meantime, please don't give up. That's the only thing we cannot do on climate. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm very pleased to give the word to Teresa Rivera, Minister of Environment for the Ecological Transition of Spain.
Good afternoon, everybody, Secretary General, colleagues in this setting, and colleagues in the audience. I'm so happy to welcome you to Madrid. I feel so proud of your work, your common work, coming from Chile, coming from 85 countries, and your Spanish colleagues being able to mobilize so quick, so fast to host you here in Madrid. I've been working on climate for almost 20 years, so I was almost as young as you are right now when I started to work on climate. And at those times, I have to say, there were not many women working on climate or being the ones taking the decisions on energy, on finance, on how cities need to be developed and what type of infrastructures needed to be built or rebuilt in order to facilitate climate action. It was so much being like that in the delegations coming from different parties to the UN negotiations, when the different governance bodies needed to be elected, there were almost a single woman. Every party nominated men to be part of these governing bodies, to help, to advise, and to take decisions. But then someone, a very brave lady coming from India and working for small islands developing states, said, "Do you think this is normal?" And everybody realized that it was no normal. No almost a single woman being part of those bodies taking and promoting the decisions. We won that battle, things started to change, and then it was the youth. Young people saying, hey, you are talking about our future. Why you talk about our future if we are not part of those taking the decisions or expressing what level of risk we are ready to support or to avoid in the time to be? For a while, it was very nice, committed, engaged adults who talk about their grandchildren. I know lots of them. Many people who suffer because they had dedicated all their lives to build a better future for the time to come and had the impression that their grandchildren could have many things to fix for the time to be. But now, all along this year, we've heard the voices of youth in the streets. Voices of anger, voices of lack of confidence on the ability, on the skills, on the capacity of the institutions, the democratic institutions, to solve the problems and to involve and commit to the extent that it is needed. So, as the Secretary General said, I think it is fabulously very important that your voice are heard, that you keep the pressure on those having the chance to take the decisions right now. And not only that, you have to be part of those taking the decisions right now. You've done this work during this weekend in order to facilitate, to push the negotiations towards the right direction. You have to be part of the delegations of your countries. You have to be part of the discussions in the areas that are under transformation. We have similar experiences here in Spain. Coal areas that need to be rebuilt. And we talk about people, not about coal. And we talk about the future, not just about the past. So youth need to be part of those decision-making processes everywhere. I'm very happy that you've got these days in order to identify what your priorities are going to be for the time of the discussions during the conference. Thanks a lot. Keep the energy, keep the emotions high, keep the ambition high, because we cannot afford anymore, not a lost decade, not even a week lost. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Now we want to give the word to Her Excellency Minister Schmidt, Carolina Schmidt, Minister of Environment of Chile and COP25 President.
Bueno, primero que nada, muy buenos días a todas, a todos. Un gusto grande estar acá con ustedes. Para los chilenos, ha sido muy doloroso no poder tener en nuestro país la COP. Chile decidió sacar adelante la COP después que Brasil decidió que no podía tomarla. Y nos dijeron que había poco tiempo, que era el final del mundo, que no se podía sacar adelante. Y hoy día que Chile está viviendo momentos duros y difíciles, donde hemos cometido errores profundos que no son aceptables, y donde tenemos que reconstruir la paz y la unidad como país para salir adelante. Yo quiero estar aquí para agradecer a España, que nos ha acogido, permitiendo cumplir una urgencia que estamos enfrentando en el mundo. Porque la crisis social que estamos viviendo en Chile y la crisis ambiental que estamos viviendo en el mundo entero son dos caras de la misma moneda y no podemos tomar una sin hacernos cargo de la otra. Y España nos dio la mano con unidad, España nos dio la mano con solidaridad, Y España ha dado un ejemplo de que se puede trabajar juntos para sacar las cosas adelante. Hoy Chile enfrenta momentos difíciles y dolorosos. En Chile no habrá impunidad a ninguno de los errores que se han cometido y que nos duelen profundamente. A la juventud, más que nadie, tiene que trabajar por la paz, por la unión y por la no impunidad. En esto no pueden haber dos voces. En esto solo podemos trabajar juntos por la no violencia y por construir juntos la paz en nuestro país. Chile ha dado pasos importantes. La clase política se ve lejana. Hoy hay un acuerdo por construir una nueva constitución donde todos seamos parte y que nos permita avanzar unidos hacia un desarrollo que sea más justo, que sea más inclusivo, que sea más sustentable, donde todas las voces quepan. Esa es nuestra misión, ese es el desafío que tenemos por delante y así es como tenemos que trabajar. Tal como la urgencia por la acción climática hoy en el mundo no se tiene que explicar porque la estamos viviendo en todas partes. Y la única manera de enfrentarla es trabajando juntos en este trabajo multilateral, la cooperación de todos y cada uno para sacar adelante la COP, para aumentar la ambición, para trabajar con sentido de urgencia, debe ser nuestra prioridad y nuestra manera de colaborar en un sistema multilateral donde todos caben, con sus problemas, con sus urgencias. Chile asume la presidencia de la COP a nombre de América Latina y el Caribe, que tiene urgencias socioambientales gigantes, que tiene problemas, que tiene dolores, pero que está presente para trabajar unido con convicción que tenemos causas que nos deben unir a todos. Esa es la razón por la que estamos aquí, esa es la razón por la que vamos a luchar juntos, con todos nuestros dolores, con todas nuestras urgencias, para poner por delante las necesidades que tenemos en nuestros países y en el mundo. Gracias al Gobierno de España, gracias a las Naciones Unidas por ser capaces de unirnos en este trabajo por las urgencias en la acción climática que necesita el mundo. Muchas gracias.
Now we will take a minute to take a picture of everybody, and then Secretary General will leave us because he has to go, and we will continue with the conference. A ver, a la cuenta de 3. We. Otra. We. Eso. Now, we will keep with the ceremony. In representation of COY organizers, will speak Hossam Imam.
Thank you. Hi, my friends. Hi, Misters and Mrs. Peace be upon you. It's me, Hossam Imam, a civil engineer from Egypt. Last year, I was working with Yango on facilitating the local conference of youth working group, COY working group. The main reason of making the COY working group is supporting youth activity about climate crisis, doing a capacity building, advocacy in decentralized gatherings around the world. In 2080, it was 19 COYs took place in the 5 continents. And this year, there was 27. There was 27 COYs with more than 1,000 of youth, each helping to increase youth engagement in Yango processes. All these COYs are bringing outcomes one by one. All these outcomes are included in the COY 15 outcomes, which will shared at the Youth Day of COP. 3 of these COY's outcomes are concluded by delivering a declaration of youth to their national governments. The outcomes are on topics ranging from diversity, SDGs, ACE, and climate justice, green investments, and social advocacy and activism, and more. Thank you for all of my colleagues and to build a capacity in their own communities. Thank you.
Thank you very much to you. Now, I would like to invite to the stage to BLT, Policy Op, Sara Bosca, and Chiaso Udek.
Good afternoon. I am Chiago Udek, youngest focal point from the Global South 2019.
And my name is Sarah Vasca, a member of the Yango bottom lining team.
On behalf of Yango, the youth constituency to the UNFCCC, we are so grateful to all of you, wonderful volunteer, COY team, and the COY coordinators. And of course, we are so grateful for the support and deeply honored by the presence of our colleagues and high-level guests from the United Nations and the governments of Chile and Spain for their incredible support.
For the COY team, we have one word: resilience. They have demonstrated the incredible resilience of young people to make the best of any situation, even in the most challenging times. When COP25 was canceled in Chile, the team rose up to propose one COY, 2 venues, so that the Chilean and international youth could all contribute and show how we are action. Unfortunately, due to security reasons, it was not possible to keep young participants safe and make them feel welcome in Chile in less than 3 weeks. The team came together to move travel arrangements, registrations, workshops, and funding to Europe. With such a short time, the team, with the support of the Spanish government, Chilean presidency, UNFCCC Secretariat, and Yango colleagues, have delivered a fantastic COY.
We only have thanks to this team for the sacrifice, commitment, dedication that preceded this day. It wasn't all easy, but today we can look back with great pride and say we are glad we did. The COY team beautifully represents this weekend's theme of We Are Action. On behalf of Yongo, accept our big congratulations.
This event also could not have been as productive as it was if not for the work of the local COY organizers at various national levels. We are so grateful for your demonstration of concrete actions, much of which have fed into NDCs at various levels. This is how we protect our future.
We welcome you all young people who before now have not been members of Yongo. As we finish the COY today, we kindly invite you to join us for our daily coordination called the Spokes Council from tomorrow at COP25 from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. daily at room 5 in IFEMA. Also be reminded as much as possible to try and get your COP badges today from the COP venue. We are happy to welcome you and help you start your journey by meaningfully engaging in the international climate change negotiation process.
We thank all of you who have worked so hard over the past 3 days and beyond on various policy positions so that we can adequately capture these key focuses of youth people and young people at COP. At Yongo, we are so proud to be equal partners with government and various UN agencies in this wheel of progress on collective, urgent, and ambitious climate action. If we can promise anything, it's only that we will do more.
Asante sana.
Merci.
Thank you.
And muchas gracias.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Chagose. Now we want to invite Jorge Gomez Sanz, Vice-Chancellor of Complutense University of Madrid.
Well, good afternoon to everyone. What can I say that has not been already said? Well, first of all, thank to all the authorities, COY organizers, especially all of the attendants to this great event. I belong to a university whose responsibility is to create knowledge, educate people, but also be the promoter of changes in the society. I've been listening carefully to the work on the conclusions of different working groups. I'd like to give my 2 pence about this. I think it's time to discuss what kind of society we want. It has a lot to do with the climate emergency. What can we do? We listen to ideas into what kind of education we can provide, what kind of sustainment we can give to the communities, what economical means we can provide to the different organizations to implement these measures. I'd like to know where we are going to. And I think that you have a word about this. You mentioned that you want to be part of the decisions. I agree with that. We live in a society that is very different from the society 100 years ago. Probably will be different from the society, not 100, but maybe 10, 20 years in the future. I'm here today. In a few years, you will be here. So I'd like to take good note of what has been said today here and start taking measures, start taking action. I think it's good to have had this event. For you, it's the continuation of a long work, far behind, well, not so far behind in Chile, but there will be a future and new people joining to the cause. So for many, it's also a new beginning. And I think you are the reason for that. So let me thank you all for this. I also want to thank my colleague, Rector Guillermo, for all the work done. I think he has done, and the team from the Rectorate, or the organizers. I already said it again, but it's so amazing to have arranged all of this in a few weeks. Great. Thank you very much. Well, I think that's all. I have to leave something to say to Rector Guillermo, so thank you.
Thank you very much for all your words. Now I would like to invite to the podium to Guillermo Cisneros, Chancellor of Politécnica, University of Madrid.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. I will start somehow following the protocol up to the end of my words. So I should start saying, Your Excellency, Minister for the Ecological Transition of the Spanish government and Minister for Environment of the Chile government, Excellent Secretary, General Secretary of United Nations, Excellent Executive Secretary of United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, Your Excellency, High Commissioner of the Spanish government for 2030 Agenda of the United Nations, presidents and members of the 15th International Conference of Youth and Organization Team, Your Grace Vice Rector of Universidad Complutense de Madrid, Your Grace Vice Rectors of Universidad Politécnica de Madrid, Your Grace Ambassadors, diplomatic representations, Director for Cooperation, and Dean of Sports and Science School of our Universidad Politécnica de Madrid, worldwide authorities, delegates, representatives of institutions, companies, universities, faculty, administration personnel, students, volunteers, team of Universidad Politécnica de Madrid, Universidad Complutense de Madrid, and other institutions, led all by Vice Rector for Quality and Efficiency of UPM. All those present here, and as well those following worldwide communication record of this 15th International Conference of Youth Health in Madrid under the coordination of the Spanish government and the presidents of the Chile government. As I said at the opening session a couple of days ago, we're absolutely delighted to host this 15th International Conference of Youth at Universidad Politécnica de Madrid, UPM, organized together with Universidad Complutense de Madrid, and everything under the coordination of the Spanish government and the presidency of the Chile government. We accepted immediately and enthusiastically this challenge when receiving the call from the Spanish government. Nevertheless, we are simultaneously sad and concerned about the current circumstances happening in Chile that have forced an unexpected and sudden headquarters change for this event, as well as for the coming 25th United Nations Climate Change Conference, so-called Conference of Parties, COP25. We wish the current situation to be reoriented as soon as possible towards peace and mutual understanding of our brother country sharing very deep cultural roots along centuries with Spain. Mr. Ban Ki-moon, former General Secretary of United Nations, said often, and particularly during his last COP22 held in 2016 at Marrakech, Morocco, he said, "We don't have plan B because there is no planet B. We have to work very hard, very seriously and urgently. This is what I am telling, not only as Secretary General, but as one of the citizens of this world. I think you and I, and all of us, have a common moral responsibility. Nevertheless, we are still far from reaching a global commitment about the conclusions of the Paris 2015 agreement. Even worse, we have globally moved in the opposite direction concerning the search of global achievements concerning the goals established in the said Paris 2015 agreement, while global remains being the situation and the problem. As Mr. Ban Ki-moon followed saying, this not only requires the commitment of governments and policymakers globally, but also active engagement of citizens and corporations. As a result, it is now time to stop definitively saying that we're fighting against whatever, wherever, by means of empty declarations, and start saying clearly that we are working towards achieving solutions to the problem, asking ourselves, what can we do as citizens and as corporation representatives to be part of the solution to the problem, pointing out which are the specific measurements we are already working about to contribute to the solution. As the current General Secretary of the United Nations has said, keep up the pressure. And as our minister has said a few minutes ago, keep up the emotions. This is why the Council of Government of Universidad Politécnica de Madrid has approved unanimously a declaration committing to the future of the planet, in full alignment with the 17 Sustainable Development Goals of the 2030 Agenda agreed by United Nations, with the intermediate goal of cancelling its net carbon emissions in 2030 to achieve full neutral climate impact in 2040. A complete plan for all European campuses is now under elaboration, involving all faculty, personnel, and students, based on our institutional experience of several decades, innovating in public-private partnerships, generating new knowledge by means of researching together with other actors of the different socioeconomic sectors, and educating students as citizens for the future, and as citizens and future managers and CEOs of corporations and institutions, thus responsible being to provide thinking global solutions to people and society, nobody left behind, applying engineering and creativity with full understanding of the big and global problem, for any solution designed by them provides neutral impact on climate. Where action is the lemma of this COY 15 preceding the COP25. Therefore, this European declaration contains specific actions already in course. On the other hand, it's crucial to put these actions in the context of the United Nations Declaration of the Sustainable Development Goals, 17 goals, 169 development measures, United Nations 2030 Agenda. Since this declaration has only a precedent of so huge importance in the Human Rights Declaration as well from United Nations. Please take your box of the European Registered Product SDG or ODC in Spanish, presented drug-like aspect, 17 pills every box, 169 components with 20-30 milligrams of active principles, and do not forget reading previously the directions for use located inside the box, despite of no incompatibilities have been found at all. Just coming to an end, I would like to thank to the Spanish government to have placed your trust in Universidad Politécnica de Madrid for hosting this 15th Conference of Youth together with Universidad Complutense de Madrid. Everything under your coordination and under the presence of the Chile government, preceding the coming United Nations Climate Change Conference, Conference of Parts 25. Thanks to our minister, to our High Commissioner, both from the Spanish government, as well as to the General Secretary of United Nations and to the Executive Secretary of United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Because everybody can understand that their presence here today has been a gesture denoting their personal and institutional support to establishing actions to solve the big and global problem of climate change. Thanks to all local organizing team of UPM and UCM, faculty, personnel, volunteers, students. Everybody conducted by the Vice-Chancellor for Quality and Efficiency of UPM, Professor Garrido, especially to the UPM School of Sports and Science for hosting the sessions, its dean, Professor Gomez Encinas, and supporting team, to the School of Edificación for hosting the closeness services, its dean, Professor Cobo, and supporting team, To the Institute of Technology for Human Development, its director, Professor Mateix, and supporting team, including the UPM Director for Cooperation, Professor Sierra, and to Professor Lumbreras, member of the Board for Climate Change of the European Commission, and as well to all other UPM centers for holding different events related with the next forthcoming COP25. Thanks to all organizers of COY 15, session conductors, participants worldwide coming, let me say especially to our Chile colleagues due to the current circumstances, to provide very useful conclusions that we have heard today, a few minutes ago as well, from COY 15, as to help as inputs, very valuable inputs, for the coming COP25 to be held during the next days. Meanwhile, let me finalize with my best wishes for you, everybody, to have enjoyed Madrid in your free time during the development of COY 15, and wishing as well you do it during the immediate coming COP25. And before saying thank you, everybody, I would like to break absolutely the protocol now and come back to something that has happened during your lunch here, is that you have been singing something at the cafeteria of this sports and science school, and you have been just not by the tables, but I have heard that you were on the tables. Now I would like to invite all volunteers and people who have organized this event to come to the stage, just on the stage, not on the table, but on the stage. And perhaps Álvaro and his colleague from Chile, together with our conductors of the current session, could perhaps they could conduct an improvised choir or orchestra to start singing as you were during the lunch. You were doing during the lunch. What were you singing? Singing, by the way, during lunch. What were you singing during lunch? You can start. Can you start? Who was the singer? Who was the singer? The singer? The singer? 1, 2, 3. Who was the singer? Oh, please. Where is the singer? Who was the singer? Who was the singer?
China. Okay.
Who was the singer, please? Ah. Okay. So perhaps you can sing something as we are the champions, because we are the champions towards the accomplishment of the Sustainable Development Goals to start taking SDG or the same. So, can we start singing "We Are the Champions"? So, we are the champions. Wow. Thank you, everybody.
de la Complutense. Ya habló. Sí. ¿Cerramos? Sí. Súper. Di que se queden, di que se queden. Ya, pero se van a sacar la foto. Di como, una foto más, no se vayan. Vamos a hacer el cierre, son 2 líneas y cerramos. Ya.
Y última foto, no se vayan.
No se vayan después de la foto. Vamos, quédense aquí, vamos a decir unas últimas palabras, no se muevan. Quédense todos aquí en el escenario, espérense un poco. Vale. We would like to thank you again for your work and input in COY 15.
And as an example of the cooperation between Chile and Spain, here with me has been Ignacio Cabrera from the COY 15 organization from Chile, and I'm Olga Rico Diez from Politécnica University of Madrid. And we wish you the best luck for the COP25, and remember, we are action.
Now we would like to invite everybody to the stage. We will do a last photo with all the participants, all the volunteers, so stay here and everybody come to the stage for the last photo. Sí. No, pero déjame una sola, por favor.